Hey everyone, so it looks like we are live. If someone wouldn't mind just letting us know if we got good, if you can hear me. As you know, so many of you logged in. I've definitely had a few problems when it comes to audio. So if you want to let me know if you can hear me, and we'll get this party started today. So let's see here. We got Mr. Sean Baker. Thanks for tuning in. Dave and G Keyman 565, Mr. Ken Nixon. How's it going? John Falk, Carl Lewis. You got your new Lock Boss hat today. Awesome. Very cool. Let's see here. Okay, it says good. They can see, they can hear, and perfect, guys. Thanks for letting me know. So up, we got Kevin Clack says, just got a Framing 2. Love it. Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, as you can see, we are live here for the hashtag LockBoss giveaway. And towards the end here, we're going to be getting into the winners, and we'll go over the details towards the end. But as you can see on the screen, I am live with Phil over at Framin. Phil, thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thanks, BJ. Appreciate you having us.
Absolutely, guys. So as you can see, Phil, I know it's later in the day there. Is it 7 o'clock over there your time?
7 o'clock. I've already been home, had dinner, and came back, so I'm good.
Wow. Well, hey, I just want to say honestly, thank you for taking the time for a long day like today to come and be a part of our LockBoss giveaway. So I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you having us as a part of it. It's a fantastic opportunity for us, and glad to be a part of it and answer some questions tonight to your viewers. So.
Absolutely. So now everyone listening, so if you have questions for Phil, go ahead, put them in the notes section. And as we start seeing them come through, I will ask him. So, and if you haven't already, Phil and I had done a podcast together. It is live on Spotify or iTunes, whatever podcast that you like to watch, or I should say listen to. It'll be there. You can definitely get a good history of Framin. So let's see here. Let's look. So it looks like Watt Volt Amp got my love my Framin 2 rock solid. Let's see here. Framin 2, Mr. Chad Ballou says he's had his Framin 2 for 20 years. Tim, Tim, I have to tell you, okay, all those gummy bears are gone that you sent us last week. So I don't know if you saw that, we did a prank. I did an April Fool's video. And I essentially said I was quitting CLK, moving on and going back to my original calling in life, which was my business when I was 10 years old, Pee Wee's Red Worms, selling fishing worms. And, people got a kick out of it. And Tim, last week, we got this huge 5-pound bag of worms in the mail. And we didn't know who it was from or what it was. We figured it had something to do with the red worms, joke or whatever. And yeah, we ate those.
Excellent.
We ate those. But let's see here. Okay, we have Jeff Moss saying he uses their KX-1 every day for peaks. So that's good. Yeah, a lot of people on here, Phil, are using the Framin 2 machine. So so let's go ahead and start it off here. So Phil, first of all, I got to notice, guys, if you can see in the picture, Phil has a Topo Chico with him. I have my Topo Chico going on here. Cheers to you, Phil, as well as everyone watching, drinking the Topo with us. So
absolutely.
That's good stuff. Now, Phil, so kind of take us back. For those who don't know too much about Framin manufacturing, can you give us like a quick summary?
Sure. So Framin started, my dad back in about 1962, 63, started out doing some lock work. He was a pretty established cabinet maker in our small town of Alpena. Not a lot of people here, so custom cabinetry didn't have a great business model at that time, I guess I would say. So he started to do a little bit of lock work. Took some correspondence courses from Leonard Singer at the time. Kind of got into that, wasn't really happy with his equipment. So I brought out his original prototype of a frame and code machine, which at the time had no name, currently has no motor, but at one time did. And so he designed this machine on his own, and he had to quit school when he was 14, but always had kind of an engineering mind and background, and worked in a lot of machine shops. So that was his original invention. He was just going to basically use it to cut keys on his own. There's a distributor down in Detroit that heard about it named Hugo Solomon and Son. The owner's name was Sam, and he came up. He used to supply my dad with locksmith tools and accessories and locks and things like that, and talked him into forming a company. So onward a few years, he patented the machine and then began selling it. The original ones are green. We've had a couple of color changes over the years, and then just continued to keep designing machines. I think in '82, he designed a tubular machine. 1986, it was a flat steel key duplicator. Today, we've got 13 different models of machines. This is today's version of a number 2. You might notice it's got a little bit longer handle on it. One of the models that we make is for prison keys, detention keys. This is called the 2J. So just a little bit of a modification on a number 2. Over the years, of course, we've gotten into software, generic code. We also make some locksmith tools. We kind of one-offed a few of the A1 tools when they went out of business. We've always made some different locksmith tools and things like that. And then a few years ago, we bought Blue Dog Keys. Liam Gribben passed away. He was the owner of Blue Dog, and kind of sat doing nothing for about 6 months. I got a hold of the family, and we picked up that business. So things are busy here, in addition to running a full-time locksmith shop. So we've got 7 employees. Everybody except for our one machinist that works for Freeman also waits on customers, rekeys locks, cuts keys, automatic doors, steel doors. We weld frames here. So there's a lot going on in the building for 6 or 7 people to keep up with.
Absolutely. I mean, what a cool history. And on top of that, I mean, I wonder, like, when your dad first made that machine, do you think he at all ever thought that it would turn into what it is in today? Really, like, probably the biggest legend of a key machine in the entire industry.
Probably not. I mean, I think he could see over the years, it was a slow start like any company, and I can't imagine starting a company. I mean, with CLK, you know the challenges today. Starting any company is difficult. Might have been a little bit easier back then. You didn't have the crazy insurance things and all the stuff you run into these days, and the startup costs, but it was still not easy. Then he got into teaching a little bit in the mid 80s with Bill Reed. There was more design of the machines. We were getting into more models. I think you could kind of see that there was some potential to kind of grow the business. But my dad was also, in his 60s at the time. And so he was kind of looking at the tail end of things, in the early 90s. And, I came on board in 92. We've really been fortunate. The locksmith industry has been a good one for us. We've really tried to continue on. My dad was always a big customer service guy. Anybody that ever talked to my dad, I don't think there was too many people that didn't like him. He spent months on the road every year doing free education. Never got, he obviously sold some product, but spent 26 weekends a year doing free classes for locksmiths with Bill Reed, Hank Spicer, and so things like that come around. And I'm a firm believer in karma. So.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, so you joined Freeman in 1992, you said?
Full time, yes. I mean, I've been cleaning since I was 5, but yeah, full time on 92.
And I'm curious, kind of growing up, did you anticipate that you would be with Freeman with your entire life?
No, I wanted to be an engineer and move up to Alaska. That was my plan. So, but I really, at that time when I was young, I don't think I really fully understood what an engineer did. And my dad was really pushing me to be an engineer because I was good at math. A couple of years into school, I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I wound up switching over to business, took a few years of business courses, and came back here, and we've grown the business pretty consistently every year. So.
Absolutely. And do you, by chance, have any other family members at all in at Freeman?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a brother and a sister. My brother Mike, real name is Frank, but since my dad was Frank, he goes by Mike. But Mike is the one that puts most of the key machines together. Well, did up until about a year ago. We've got a new. We hired a young man named Anthony Berg about a year and a half, 2 years ago. He is doing a lot of the machine assembly now. Great with his hands, great mechanical mind. So that's kind of one of our crew here. And then my sister retired about a year and a half ago. Her name was Ann. She did the books and all the finance for the company. And then my brother's son, Andrew, is our bookkeeper these days and does a lot of the Blue Dog order picking and things like that. So.
Awesome. So, I mean, it's really part, family business.
Yeah, and we've also got our serviceman for our lock shop as well, who, again, everybody's got their hands in two things here. Everybody that works here is does a lot of work with Freeman and a lot of work with Franks, but our serviceman, Milt, he is, he puts motors on key machines, he runs service calls. We just hired another fellow named Jonathan. He does a lot of service calls and is starting to do some of the pre-assembly for Freeman. And then one more fellow in the machine shop, John Reed. And yeah, so it's a fun crew. We've got some youth coming in, and nice to see some young guys coming in and picking up where the old guys can't carry it on quite at the speed that people.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool. I mean, I can't help but think of some of just the similarities, with as you know, I mean, I grew up, like you grew up in Frank's Key and Lock. I grew up in my dad's locksmithing business. And of course, I didn't want to be a part of it. When I grew up, for many years, I, wanted to do something else. Mm-hmm. And it's funny how there's just something about, as you progress in years, you're just like, what, I think I want to be in this industry.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom always called it a blessing and a curse. I mean, it was great to have the family together, but there's a lot of, if you've got family in the business, there's a lot of banging heads. So it's not too many chiefs and not enough Indians at times.
Very, very true. So, well, you know what, that's great. And I think that Freeman too, it's still being made. And like I kind of talked about in the podcast, is that to me, it's just as relevant today as it was back when your dad had made it. Like all the different parts and pieces that you can interchange to do different types of edge style keys. It's really amazing.
Yeah, the things come out all the time. I mean, there's new cylinder keys that pop out. Somebody comes out with a new high security key, a new keyway. After 40 or 50 years, we've kind of got it down to a science. It doesn't take us long to react. Medico came out with a new key about 2 months ago. They contacted us. It didn't take us long to come up with a device. They got us some blanks, and we're able to cut that key on a few different machines. So Jeff mentioned the KX1. That's the one Medico, I think, is looking at a little bit more. It's kind of a dedicated machine, but that same vise goes on the number 2. So you can take some of our parts and they cross over to different platforms, and it's not difficult for us to keep up with what's going on in the industry, I guess I would say.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, we have Jenkins Locke says, I appreciate vendors that have passionate people making the product and not an assembly company just pumping out products out. So, and that's really something that's really unique in the industry with what you guys are doing over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty rare that we make more than 25 parts for a machine, or parts to make 25 machines. I mean, we do small batches here. I mean, we're in a 6,000 square foot building. I mean, we don't have room for 100 number 2 sitting on shelves waiting to go out the door. And, our machinist, at times he's working 10-hour days trying to keep up. And, when we need to, we throw somebody else out there. It's, we're reactive to what's going on. It's rare we don't ship a machine within a week. It's, as you probably know, it's normally a day. So, we pride ourselves on that, on having things in stock and ready to go. And, it gets crazy around here, but somehow we keep up with it all. So.
Absolutely. Well, and I can tell you on the distributor side, the fact that you got like how quickly you guys always ship the machines is amazing. I mean, it's everything you want in a manufacturer. Answer their phones and will help you, and they ship the machines quickly. So I think that's like the perfect group right there.
Yeah, and we really have to. I mean, we're the little guy in the key machine world. I mean, we're competing against the Ilgos and the Hudsons and HPC now Hudson. They can tell a distributor they're going to wait 10 weeks, and that's okay. We can't, because then somebody will, move on to something else, and we have to do a lot of little things to keep our customer base happy and our distributors. So.
Absolutely, yeah. So I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about Genericode. So we have a bunch of questions coming in here about Genericode. And if you wouldn't mind recapping, I know we talked about this on the podcast, but if you're going to recap, how did Genericode come to be?
So Genericode was the brainchild of Gail Johnson, the former editor of the Locksmith Ledger, who just passed away a few weeks ago. Bill Reed code book system. If you go back that far, people will remember the 15 volumes of Reed code books that the Locksmith Ledger used to sell. Bill's grandpa actually compiled all those codes, and then it kind of moved down the line, eventually getting bought out by Ilgo when they bought the Ledger. And so Bill kind of worked a deal with Gail, where Gail could digitize the codes basically and put them into, at that time, a DOS program called Computex. So Gail toiled for I don't know how many hours, taking 15 volumes of code books and literally punching, there wasn't OCR software at that time. He punched in code number 1001, and then he punched in 123 for cuts, and added depth and space information and key blank information and all that. And so Computex had a good run. In about 2000, the magazine got sold to Cygnus Publishing. I believe it was Cygnus at that time. They didn't want to sell software. They wanted to sell printed things like books and magazines. Gail didn't really have a marketer for his program. We had known Gail for a lot of years. My dad and he were good friends, and we offered to market the program. And so on a handshake, we did that for 21 years. And about a year and a half ago, Gail was starting to run into some health problems. And so we did a buyout. And so we're in the middle of that with his family right now. But, Freeman, for the most part, by the contract, we completely own the codes and the code system. And we also came out with an online version as well about 4 or 5 years ago. So Genericode is now wholly owned by Freeman, and we are the ones keeping the program up and getting new codes and doing all that fun stuff. So
yes, that's truly, it's truly remarkable. I mean, my dad was always a really big fan of the Reed codes. And if memory serves me right, like at one point they were printed on like a microfiche.
Yep.
And I mean, I think up until recently, we finally got him to get rid of the microfiche, I mean, he'd be like, you know what? And every once in a while back, I mean, this is 15, 20 years ago, but he would there'd be a code he couldn't find in the code software. I don't remember what he was using at the time. And I'll be darned if you want to go over, and I mean, none of us even really understood what he's doing. And he'd get on that microfiche and he'd move it around and be like, there it is. And he'd cut the key for like some random master padlock and it would work. And he's like, that's why I keep it around,
I can remember as a young man starting in the shop, you would go to volume 15 of the Reed codes, you'd open up the index, you'd look for your code. In that index, it would tell you to go back to book 13, section 2, page 12. You'd go back there, you'd find the information, you'd bounce back to the machine, cut the key. I mean, it was a 5 or 10 minute process by the time you get, start to finish. Now we do it in 30 seconds and don't think anything of it. So yeah, great for, it's a great thing to have. And, yeah, it certainly keeps us busy.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple questions coming in for Genera code. So how often, so William C asks, how often does Genera code update?
So we do what we call a major update once a year. That's usually somewhere between March and May. We are not, again, we're a small company. We don't say we have an unofficial release date. When I think program's ready to release, we release it. For a month before it's ready to release, everybody here is punching in codes and checking things and verifying that we have information right. But so right now we're on version 20. Within about a week, version 21 will be out. And during the year, any updates during the year are free. So as long as you have an internet connection, if you're on version 21 and you bought it in April, we might issue a update in a month. Might have a new ITL number or a new LKP DSD number or something, or there's a new set of codes that are out for IKEA. So that'll be in a free update. You'll start your program, it'll tell you there's an update available, you download it, that's a freebie. Once we get to release a new version, and again, say in a week, we're gonna come out with version 21, we stop updating the previous version. So we still support it, there's still tech support offered. We go back 3 versions on tech support. So the current version plus 3 previous, we offer tech support and downloads and things like that. So if anybody needs to reinstall the program, we'll help you out with that and get you the download link. The updates, we are unique with our updates in that we do not force updates on our customers. We'll make an announcement, we'll send you an email, we'll send you a mailer, we'll let you know that it's out there, it's in the magazines, but you don't have to buy that update. If you say, hey, there's not much new going on, I haven't run into anything that's not in my program, you can skip a year, you can skip 2 years, you can skip 5 years. If you were to skip 5 years and then buy it 5 years from now, you just pay the one update price. You don't have to pay for all the middle updates you didn't purchase. So we're unique like that. I think with some of the other programs, if you miss 2 or 3 updates, you might as well just pay the entire $600 or $700 for the whole program, because you're going to buy, they're going to force you to buy all those middle updates. So, completely up to you how you want to handle it. Again, we don't force anything. The program never stops working. The desktop version, it just continues to run and, indefinitely until you decide to update it.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I mean, the fact that you when it comes to software, I mean, it seems like the thing that is popular nowadays is to really punish you if you don't buy that update every year, right? And the fact that if Freeman's stance on it is that if you don't feel it's in your best interest to buy the newest software update because you don't feel like your business needs it right now, but the next following year you feel like you do, the fact that you guys don't penalize users of the software for that is absolutely impressive. And for me, I've always been a big Genera code fan, and it just makes me like the program even more.
Yeah, and we see it from the locksmith side of things. I mean, we've got a lot of different software programs we use in our lock shop and in our day-to-day business. I mean, you get this stuff jammed down your throat all the time, and it overwhelms you at times. So yeah, I mean, if you don't do much automotive and you don't see a need for, maybe one cabinet lock, I mean, so you miss a couple of cabinet lock updates, most everybody can impression a lock. So you don't really have to have it. You can continue your daily work without it, and pick it up in a couple of years if you want to. As I said, if you go more than 4 years, then we kind of quit offering tech support on the program. But you can still run the program indefinitely. I got a call from the university that was on version 4 last week. That's 16 years ago. So
wow,
program's still working. Just keep using it. It's no big deal. So. And the other thing I'll mention, most other code programs, you get to put it on one computer. We give you 3 unlock codes. You can put it on 3 computers. And if you need to put it on a 4th or a 5th or a 6th, again, it's all got to be working out of one location. If you've got trucks or other computers, or you want to version it home because you're on late night calls, it's $10 for an extra unlock code. We don't, charge you another $150 for that.
Yeah, I mean, and once again, I mean, that really just shows, I mean, Freeman, you guys are like one of those companies that it's like, you wish every manufacturer viewed their company policies the way you guys do. I mean, the world would be a much better place for sure. So thank you guys for doing that. And as locksmiths, I mean, it's obviously how you guys are relating your framing practices or generic code practices is the way that you would want to have them. So that's impressive.
Sure. Yeah. And as I said, we run into it. So we know how it goes. And, even in our lock shop, we buy products from companies we know kind of work the same way we do and that are easy to work with. I mean, I don't want to sit on hold for 5 minutes waiting for somebody. We've got our vendors, I mean, we're careful as to who we pick because it's busy. We don't have time to sit around and wait for callbacks and, wait on hold. So.
Sure. So Chad Ballou is asking, generic code, how hard is it to keep up with all the codes? And, I know we touched on this briefly and he said he really enjoyed the podcast, but
it's hard. Very, I don't know how to put that any other way. Because so many companies do so many different things. So Chad, I don't know if you do automotive or if you are more of a residential commercial guy. Kia and Hyundai, they are like my best friends. 6 months before the Kia Stinger hit the streets, I had the codes. The new Santa Cruz coming out, we had those a month ago. They give us plenty of time. They tell us the key codes, the key number, this, that, everything we need to put in the program 6 months ahead of time. Other manufacturers, one of the big three in particular, they feel unless you're buying a key machine through their supplier, there's no sense in giving anybody a code. So they strictly shoot their codes down the pipeline of the key machines that they supply to their dealerships. And if you're not one of those people, then you don't get codes. We still get the codes. Once they're in a machine, I mean, we've got friends all around the industry. And I mean, we literally paid a guy a month and a half ago to sit there and extract all the P codes out of a computerized code machine. So we had the bidding list. I mean, it was a week's worth of work for him and it was expensive for us, but we have them. Subaru has done the same thing. They don't release codes. Master Padlock quit releasing codes. It makes a locksmith's life more difficult. It makes the end user's life more difficult. So some companies you really have to appreciate, like Kia and Hyundai, but others are just they're going to be difficult, and that's the way it is. And I'm not going to change the way they do business. So it's a lot of time, it's a lot of work, and we fight that battle every single day.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, it seems like as time goes on, it actually seems to get worse, right? With how many random codes that are popping up and manufacturers changing, and I mean. It's quite the project.
Yeah, it's a complete hassle. It's I think I said this last week, it's our Mount Everest. I mean, it's the biggest job we have here.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, let me go through the comments. There's a lot of them here. National.
All good, I hope.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, Willard says he likes framing because it's American made and family owned. So Keith says he just ordered a frame in 2. Excellent. And let's see here. Chad Ballou says he does both automotive and commercial, who asked that question. So he does automotive, residential, and commercial. He says, so Locks NY is asking, what about Subaru's unpublished code series?
That is going to be a slow process, I hate to tell you. So we have a Google Sheets spreadsheet that we have started. And if you would like to be part of that, just shoot me an email, phil@framing.com. If you have a Gmail account, it works best. We will share that spreadsheet with you, and you can submit new codes to us anytime you want. Because if you run into a lock that you have, there's 8,000 codes. We have about, I'd say 400 or 500 of them. I don't know that we have 500 of them. But the only way we've gotten them is from some dealerships and some locksmiths that send them in. There's a couple guys that every time they hit a Subaru and decode it, they always send me the cuts, which really, we really appreciate it. There's just there's no other way to get this stuff. I can't talk Subaru into changing the way they do things.
Mhm.
Until Freeman grows about 400 times the size that it is now. So I don't think that's going to happen. So I doubt Subaru is going to change the way they do things. So, the 90,000 code series, the high security one, that one I looked at today, we've got about 3 dozen out of 10,000. So it's, that's going to go on and on and on until somebody at Subaru thinks it's a good idea. They want the customer going back to the dealership and getting the keys from them. And that's just, you're not going to change that mentality until there's a law against it. I don't.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like Locks NY says he has a pile of them saved by then now.
Bring them, send them in if you can.
Yeah, Locks NY, come on, you can contribute to Genericode.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, there's a ton of, we get every day or two, 2, 3, 4 emails I get, and sometimes it's just a single bidding, but it still helps any little bit. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, anyone listening to want to send those in, Phil@Freeman.com. It says, he says, what does he say here? He says, yeah, if we could all share a Google Docs, he would build it quick.
Yeah, and we announced that a long time ago, and I probably haven't made it well known yet. But yeah, just give me your email address. I'll put you on the list. You can view them. I do prefer to put them in myself. So you can view what we have. If you get something new, just shoot it to my email. We put them in both 1 deep and 4 deep, just because I think they come out of their program with a 1 is the deep cut and a 4 is a shallow. We normally flip those in the program.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just putting in your email into the chat notes here. There we go. Okay, I put it in there. And yeah, it looks like Chad Ballou says that he'll be sending in his, he has one, he'll be sending in to you at Locks NY. So yeah, that's great. Hopefully we can help build that up a little bit. We have another question by George Blair that's asking about Ford internal groove Sidewinder codes yet.
So we have the codes. Those are the new P codes. Those will be coming out in the next Genericode, which, as I said, is in about a week. We always put Laser Key Products information in our program, so they just got that DSD done a few weeks ago. So that should all be out here pretty quick with version 21. Ford Ranger. I think the Ranger is the one using that new code series.
Okay.
And then there's also Ford also came out last year or the year before with a couple others, the 30,000 series, which have been in the program for a year now.
Okay. And, by the way, it says, Jeff Moss says, Phil, you have my email.
I do.
But so I have a quick question about this as we're talking. So if you have Genericode online, do you update that once a year as well? Or is that just a constant update as you get them entered into the database?
As we put out the updates, the online updates that for Genericode that you'll see when you start the program up, as soon as those are done, then they go into the online version as well. So the online version, you'll never see it say anything about an update. It's a web page and it's a live update, so it's just continually updated throughout the year.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for all those questions about that. Now let's go ahead, Phil. I know we're already 30 minutes into this.
And I'm happy to stay however long everybody wants to listen.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. Dusty Knuckles says, get ready, Phil. Looks like you're going to have a bunch of these codes headed your way. I would much rather support a company that participates and shares honestly within the community per your policy. So awesome. Thanks for the nice words, Dusty.
Yep, appreciate that.
And so now, Phil, I want to switch gears one more time here, and then everyone, we're going to be getting to the live giveaway. But so as everyone who's listening to this or watching this, I should say, knows that maybe 5 years ago or so now, A1 out of nowhere goes out of business.
Right.
And boom, they're gone. Pack-a-punch owners, you're out of luck. Quick pull owners, you're out of luck. People who like their, all sorts of their different products are essentially out of luck. And that's until Freeman comes around, saves the day.
Well, I wouldn't say we quite saved the day. We did what we could. So we tried to buy A1. There was a company, A1 had gotten sold a few times to a couple, it just kept working its way up the chain. Eventually, a company called Avis, who was some multi-billion-dollar company that, not the car rental company, but a different Avis, I guess. We made several calls about buying the assets of A1 or buying the name or buying what was left. And I was just basically told it's all going in the garbage. It's not worth messing with. And they threw it in the dumpster and locked the doors and away they went. So we knew we had shared a rep at one time with A1, and I knew a couple of the guys there, the great crew at A1. But we've been in touch with one of them, and he's kind of guided us a little bit in terms of producing some of the tools. We have not gone full line on A1 or anything like that, but probably the most important one, I guess, from our lock shop standpoint, are the quick pull blades. If you've got an A1 quick pull for either Kwikset or Schlage, these blades wear, they break, a lot of different things happen to them. So we did come out with those, and again, we have both tools here, so we know they work. So we came out with quick pull blades. I think CLK's got those in stock.
Yep.
We also came out with a capping block similar to theirs. It's not exactly like it. Theirs had 150 spacing on one side and 140 on the other. We kind of opted out of the 140. I know there's still Peaks people out there. We use Peaks in our lock shop. But this one's just a 150. It's got a single staking tool and a ejector pin on the bottom instead of the 140 spacing. We've got a channel where you can eject the pins out of the cores. After we came out with that, this wasn't an A1 tool, but somebody suggested we come out with a 7-pin staking tool. So if you've got the guts, I don't. I pin one chamber at a time with interchangeable core, but if you pin all 7, you can drop that in there and cap all 7 at one time if that's your thing. We also came out with the tubular lock saw. That's one of our favorites in our lock shop, is the tubular lock saw. Kind of a defeat tool for a tubular lock, but we got those made up. That's a good selling tool for us. And that's kind of it on the A1 side. We're looking at bringing the quick pulls back. We've got a lot of calls on the Pack-a-Punch. I just don't think we can do that. There's so much to the Pack-a-Punch with all the different kits and everything like that. I don't see us, unfortunately, coming back out with the Pack-a-Punch. There's a few others we're looking at. Some of the extracting tools and things like that we may kind of poke around into, but PJ, you'll be one of the first ones to know if we follow through on that. And then we've, our old standbys. We've got an impressioning tool here that we've had for years. That's a great selling tool. We did come out with this safety deposit box killer kit about 1.5 years ago. One of my friends designed it, named David Taylor. It's for opening up safety deposit boxes quickly and easily and pulling the plugs out. So, we get into a lot of tools by necessity. We see what's going on in our shop, and we react to it. So.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. And thank you. Getting those quick pull blades back was, a lifesaver to everyone who used that tool. The amount of them we sold, and all of a sudden, our stock dried up when A1, went out of business there. And the funny part is, so there was a gap between when A1 quit making them or went out of business and when you guys started making them again. And the weird part is, I found it crazy that as soon as you guys start making them again, we put them back online and let everyone know, we start selling a ton of them again. It's a bizarre, it's like, man, it just shows the need. After that amount of time that went by, everyone was still willing to, invest in those blades again.
Yeah, it's a cool tool, and it's kind of dead if you don't have the blades. And we looked at it, it's like, let's just make these ski blades up, and there can't be that much to it. There's more to it than you think, believe me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, I'm just looking through the comments here. Lots of good stuff here. Perfect. Now, what about the hurdy-gurdy? Do you guys have any plans at all of, looking at something like the hurdy-gurdy?
We are looking at it. I don't know that we're gonna go anywhere with it, but we have looked at it. So I'm gonna hold off at that point. No promises. I think it's I think it's a neat machine. I always have thought it was a neat machine. Of course, my dad was a devout hater of tubular keys. He felt they were always fighting themselves in a lock because of the string pressure. He would never,
Okay.
he never come out with a duplicating machine for him. He always wanted to code cut them. And so, so we have a code machine, but again, it's a $1,500 tubular code machine. That hurdy-gurdy for $500 or $600 was a great thing to have in your toolkit. Traveled well and did a great job. I mean, it's a neat item, and so yeah, we've been poking around with it a little bit, but I don't, whether it ever makes it out of the building, I don't know. So
Okay, that's very fair.
it is a maybe.
Yeah. Oh man, that's good stuff. So, hey, Jeff Hudgens said that he would have loved to go dumpster diving with you when A1, shut down.
I tried. I did. I put a heck of an effort into it, but no luck.
Yeah, it's really a shame that happened the way it did. But thank you guys for the parts you've picked back up. I think that's absolutely great.
Yeah.
All right. So you know what? Here we are. 40 minutes into it now. So you know what? We better go ahead and do the Lock Boss giveaway. So I want to thank everyone who's been tuning in and being a part of the conversation. And Phil, thank you for once again for being here and letting me ask you a bunch of questions on the spot. So
absolutely. It was always fun.
Yeah. So everyone, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go over the ground rules, make sure we're all on the same page. And then Phil is going to announce this week's 5 winners. Now, this is the deal. Phil actually, in support of the hashtag LockBoss giveaway and us here at CLK Supplies and you, the participant, Freeman is actually going to be donating all of the Freeman items that are going to be given away. So, Phil, thank you for the generosity and the support. I know I personally appreciate it. My staff does here, as well as all the viewers.
Well, again, it's a wonderful opportunity and a great way to spend a Tuesday night here. So thanks for everybody for attending and all the questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So, everyone, here's the ground rules. Here we go. So throughout the week, we post videos on YouTube. When you comment on the video and include the hashtag LockBoss, you are automatically entered in to win one of 5 prizes every week. No purchase necessary. Now, this is how it works. So every week is its standalone contest. So the contest runs from Monday through Sunday, and we announce the winners here live on YouTube every Tuesday. Now, if your YouTube name is one of the names called, is what you need to do is send us an email at sales@clksupplies.com or call us at 800-848-6989. We'll make sure we have your shipping address correct, and we're going to hook you guys up. So, and Freeman is going to be hooking you guys up this week as well. So it's going to be really, really fun. So without further ado, Phil, let me go ahead and get a drum roll going, and I'll let you announce the winner number 1.
Okay, so are we working our way up or working our way down?
Either way, we'll start at number 1. We'll go up to number 5, and then we'll put them all in a hat, and we'll draw one of the winners tonight.
Oh, okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. Okay. So let's see here.
Winner number 1 is
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Congratulations, Steve. I think Steve has won here before, but awesome, Steve. Congratulations. Make sure you send us that email. So here we go. Winner number 2 is
Tom Cason.
Tom Cason. How do you spell that last name?
Cason.
Tom Cason. Congratulations, Tom. Awesome. Here we go. Winner number 3 is
Rook Knight.
Rook Knight. Congratulations. Very cool. Winner number 4 is
Cameron Miller.
Cameron Miller, congratulations. Very cool. And here we go. Last but not least, winner number 5 of this week's hashtag Lockboss giveaway is
Smith Lock Locksmithing.
Smith Locksmithing.
Yes.
Very cool. Well, congratulations. So those are the 5 winners this week. Make sure you email us in at sales@clksupplies.com or call us 800-848-6989. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to, Phil put all of the names, all the 5 winners into a hat, and we're going to draw live one of the winners. And the winner who Phil draws is going to be getting 1 year free of Genera Code online. And they're going to be getting their 2 plug holders as well as their impressioning tool. So how cool is that? I'm really excited for this. So Phil, if you want to draw the winner of those items there.
Let's see. That one is Smith Lock Locksmithing.
Smith Locksmithing. Awesome. Congratulations. Very cool. So everyone, thank you for tuning in and being a part of this. Congrats to all of the winners. It looks like Connor just in the notes just put the email address and phone number to make sure you guys hit us up. Phil, they all love you on here. They're telling you, they're saying you're number 1. You're number 1. So
I appreciate that. Thanks everybody for coming out. I love the format, PJ. It's fantastic. So always, anytime you need somebody to fill dead time, I'm available. So
awesome. Well, I absolutely love having you on and doing the podcast. And tomorrow we're releasing a first of many Freeman 2 videos and talking about the versatility of it and just how relevant it is today. So really appreciate you coming on. So, and everyone, you are going to be seeing a new podcast drop today with Keyline USA. So make sure you listen to that. Phil, once again, thank you for tuning in. Everyone who's tuning in right now, thank you as well. And we'll see you in the videos this week, and we'll see you live next. So everyone have a great evening. Be safe out there. And Phil, you know what? I think we're finally going to let you go home. So
not a problem at all. Thank you very much, PJ.
Awesome. Thanks, Phil. All right, Phil, 1 second here. I think we're